We will start now. So, welcome to webinar series number 5 on SDG6, water and sanitation. Today is 2nd August 2021. So, in the next hour, we will be hosting two great speakers today who are respectable in the work they do on SDG or Sustainable Design Goal, specifically in relation to getting community participation in their works. So my name is Rahina Ibrahim, your host and moderator for today. I'm a professor at the Faculty of Design and Architecture, University Putra Malaysia. I'm currently the focal lead for the implementation working group of the Global Wastewater Initiative Awareness Program, United Nations Environment Program. I'm the lead researcher for the Smart Sanitation for Water Settlement, a joint project between UNEP and ACT Malaysia. I would like to thank the Department of Architecture, Faculty of Design and Architecture for organizing this webinar series, number 5 on SDG6, Water and Sanitation. I welcome everyone who are here today. This webinar series is co-organized by UNEP and ACT Malaysia from the Global Wastewater Initiative Awareness Program with University Putra Malaysia. So the objectives are two. One is to increase the awareness of importance of ocean quality preservation in promoting sustainable livelihood for coastal communities, and two, to share culture-based technologies in the area of sanitation to remote settlement. So for each series so far, we have arranged and recommend key speakers from among members of the group and with pilot project partners from Malaysia. Today is the 5th of the 9 webinar series planned for this year. The webinar series recognized all the partners and supporters for SDG6, and among them University Malaysia Sabah and Malaysia Industry Government Group for High Tech. The webinar series is part of the 50th celebration for the establishment of University Putra Malaysia. So ladies and gentlemen, please be informed that all sessions are recorded for case analysis by United Nations Environment Program. So let's go on. I have to we have some change in the arrangement of the speaker because our first speaker has some urgent matters to attend first. So we brought forward our second speaker. So let me introduce our second speaker. He is Associate Professor Dr. Awangku Hasanah Bahar Pengiran Bagul. Can we call you short, Dr. Awangku? Is that okay?
That is fine with me. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And he's from University Malaysia Sabah. He will speak about the socio-economic advocacies through community participation that he has experienced while working in Sabah Tourism Project. So, Associate Prof. Dr. Awangku is currently the head of Tourism Management Program at the Faculty of Business Economics and Accountancy. He's a research fellow for Borneo Tourism Research Center at UMS. He is the founder and current editor-in-chief of the BMP IAGA Journal for Sustainable Tourism Development. So BIMP IAGA stands for Brunei, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, East ASEAN Growth Area. That is very long. Okay. So he is instrumental in the development of Desa Cinta called Buni, which is now a model for socio-economic development of villages in Sabah. So I would like to remind the audience again to write in the chat box if you have any question for both speakers. We will collect them at the end. Before and we will open the question at the Q&A session at the end. So Associate Prof. Dr. Awangku, the floor is yours. So you have about 20 minutes. I will give you a reminder 1 minute before. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sure. Thank you very much, Prof. Rahina. It is a pleasure to be here to share my experience on how we actually empowered people in the community to have a better livelihood, a better environment, and so on. So let me share my slides first here. Let me see if I can do that. Okay.
Can
So
see.
I believe this, yes,
Yes,
that's
we can
great.
see. Good.
I'll put on the presentation mode now. So this topic is actually is given by the organizer for me on the socioeconomic advocacy through community participation, because I believe this is what the working group are looking for, or trying to learn, or trying to trying to put on a microscope uh, how some people are doing in different environment, different situation, different projects. So let me introduce you guys to our project first. Basically, this is between the village, our faculty in the university, with our tourism center, and with the Kota Kinabalu City Hall. So Kota Kinabalu City Hall, basically we just call them DBKK, Dewan Bandaraya Kota Kinabalu. And even though it's a rural area, but I the you know the beautiful thing is actually it's still in the KK vicinity, so it is still considered a city within the city, but in the suburban category. So these are the stakeholders, and I think this is a very important to know who are your stakeholders in the in any project. And in my experience, I mean, if it's the lesser is probably the better, because if you have multiple agencies, even though it make things work, but it will be very difficult to manage as well. So these are the three component, three main one. So the rest of the other agencies, we just call them collaborators, but these are the main stakeholders. So when we started with this village, we already envisioned that we wanted this village to be a model for other villages, because we wanted to basically develop the whole area. So if you want to develop the whole area in one go, it's going to be very expensive, very time consuming, and definitely the stakeholders do not have that resources to go for that one as well. But if we can have like a small model and we can replicate that, then it would be easier for us to have to have like that kind of domino effect towards other villages as well. And actually, this village is not. I mean, it was under the radar at first, but then when they started to win awards for their cleanliness only, and then we started to like, okay, let's just go ahead and look at this village and see how they're, how are they doing and what is their potential and things like that. And we do actually find there's a big potential for this village. And one of the things that also in tourism as well, because we want to use tourism as a tool to strengthen the socioeconomic development so that they can become a model village. It's if you are in tourism, you know that name and branding are very important. So although officially the village is called Kampung Kobuni or Kobuni Village, but we rebrand them as Desa Cinta Kobuni, which is more catchy and much more in resonance to our target market as well. So I think one of the things that when we started to, I think a lot of scientists here, that is listening to me now, I'm sure that if you work with a local community, I mean, definitely you will do a lot of community consultation before you started your project as well. So we do go a lot of community consultation, get everyone to get on board with that one as well. So we wanted to have an agreement with them, what are their expectations and what is our expectations. I mean, for example, like in UMS, of course, we are not going to contribute money to the project, but we contributed in terms of resources, but we want something back as well, because otherwise it would be just, it's a one-way street and this is not going to be a very motivating project. So when we lay out down all the expectations. So the villagers, they said they just want a better social and economic situations. That's it. And from UMS as well, because we are mobilizing our students and our staff, and so we wanted to have that area to become our living lab. So it's easy for us to do assignments for the students, and also easy for us to do research and so on. Anything pilot, we can test it there and so on. And so these are what we wanted to do. And of course, for the BKK, because they are the government. So this is the KPI, excuse me, and they need to actually produce two tourism products per year. So Kobuni is one of the KPI for that year as well. So we did a quick assessment on the tourism potentials. We used the 5 A's of potential assessment, which is attraction, activities, access, accommodation, and amenities. At that time, they only have 3 out of 5, but by the end of the project, we managed to get everything done. So when we started to say like, okay, what kind of tourism that we wanted to have here, and I'm always pro sustainability in terms of many choices, especially also in my research as well. And I said that we got to do. I mean, this is if I want to get involved with this project, and they already have something on the cleanliness part that is very excellent and award winning. So let's just go full blast on the sustainability. So the best one would be on ecotourism, which is, and I want it to be community based as well. So I like ecotourism because it's not just one-sided as well. It's not just like, okay, we just conserve the environment and so on, but it also promotes you know, the well-being of the local community. So it's kind of a two ways. And also, the tourist also enjoys that one. So it's a very holistic kind of like concept that that we think that it could work very well in that village. And actually, this is I don't know what happened that year, but that year was, I think everybody was very motivated, and and within 3 months we have this intensive program, which is, I think, I don't really recall that I'm tired doing that. Excuse me. But then but looking back at it, it's like, wow, I mean, you have put so much effort into the 3 months. So what we do is we divide it into our expertise. I mean, for example, for us, we have a lot of experts in marketing, in product development, and so on, food and beverage, hotel management. So we use that expert and build the capacity of that village. So we did a tourism product identification with them, and we do a tourism product development with them as well, so they can develop their own product. We don't actually tell them what to do, but let's say if they identify one product that they can do from the existing situation, so we actually help them how to develop it further. And then the second one would be on the food and beverage, because this is an important part in tourism. Excuse me. And the last one will be on the beautifications of the village. So which is actually on the beautification, this is where the students come in, especially the undergraduates, because they're kind of like you know, excited to be, to be involved in developing a new tourism product as well. For the DBKK or the City Hall, so they have done a lot of collaboration with other agencies as well. For example, in order to do homestay certification, so they need a training, they need to have like a product audit and so on. They work with Motec. And then of course, and they also establish a co-op. Now the co-op is, excuse me, the co-op is very, very important because one of the thing about a village is when you go inside the village, you must make sure that when you exit the village, the harmony of the village is still intact. You don't want to go to the village and then after that, and then after that, there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of conflict that reason from the projects. So in order for us to ensure that there's a what do you call that, equitable distributions of benefits. So that's why we established co-op to that village. So the co-op is actually very, very crucial here. And then, of course, Motec also very generous to do some infrastructure development, which is the community hall, which is also can do as an event area as well. And then, of course, there's some private sector like Nippon. They did a beautification project like murals around the village. So, so these are the things that we have done within the 3 months. And then we opened up to the tourism. All right. So after 12 months from the initial project, so we have that evaluation. So what we have found that the socio-economic conditions did actually strengthen. because the project create new jobs like a tour guide, homestay operators, micro entrepreneurs. Usually they're selling souvenirs, food and beverage, and and also the young kids. They also they do cultural performance as well. Not just the young kids, but also there's some elder people as well. And the last time that we did that before COVID, uh, they were earning per an average, which is 250 per month, which is I think is a very good secondary income. And of course, this is just an income to that individuals who are directly working in the tourism activities, but also they have like the charges that they charge, they go for the village fund. Those are going to the co-op. So that goes to everyone who is actually in the village. And another one that actually was very happy to see is the women in that villages are very they are very enthusiastic about it, and the male are very supportive about that as well. So the women men surround mainly they run the tourism activities in the village. So these are actually they become more creative, and they have this kind of like um, working structure as well, so they become more organized. And of course, they get this supplementary income, the secondary income as well. So these are actually very good in terms of their empowerment. So we are very happy to see that as a result of this project. And of course, if you go to the village, you will see a physical upgrading. Before that, it would be just a normal village. And then after that, when they started working with artists and with Nippon and things like that, so it becomes a bit more beautiful, a lot of murals. And the thing is, because everybody was on board with it, so they were like, oh, can you paint my house? Can you paint my wall and things like that? So they are very, what do you call that? Uh, very motivated and very very willing to participate because they know it's going to be a good thing as well. So of course there's a river there. There's a near Johnson waterfall, which is we help them to do a beautiful corners, especially for Instagram and things like that. And of course the community hall is there. Now one of the things that I noticed, especially in other projects as well, when they are quite comfortable with their socioeconomic returns. So they are more willing to adopt whatever that you actually suggest to them. So their sustainability adoptions are much easier. So when they see things are working in favor of them, so they are more motivated to be more sustainable because they know that these are the way that people want to go to look for experience in that village. So they started to organize like organic farms competition, for example, and I think there's the NGOs coming in with the idea of doing a hydroelectric system, and they were like very open with it. So I think that the strengthening of the socioeconomic, conditions actually make them more adaptable to things that, that they actually propose to. So I think after 1 year and a half like that, so we think that this is a working model. So we are actually ready to replicate to other villages as well. So we are replicating into 3 villages at this moment. The first one is Kampung Kolon Sunan. This is actually located in the Babagon water catchment area. So it's also a biosphere reserve. And the second one is Kampung Darau Laut, which is near the coast of KK, which is very near to University of Malaysia Sabah as well. It's a mangrove area that actually connects to the Mora. And also the last one would be the Kampung Tanjung Aru Baru, which is the water village. So this is again a typical water village like Kampung Air, Sembulan, and also in Daya Island as well, if you know Sabah that well. Right. So the one that we completed on the replication would be the Kampung Kolon Sunan. So you know that if you water catchment area, if you biosphere reserve, you cannot do a lot of things. You cannot actually have 1 acre more for plantations. You cannot have certain number of livestock and things like that because they were trying to preserve the pristineness of the water that goes to the reserve, sorry, to the dam, in the Babagan Dam. So one of the things that we see is basically tourism can supplement their income so that they actually preserve the area and they don't actually bother the dam area as well. So one of the things that actually is a bit complicated at first because you have to involve a lot of agencies. For example, like Sabah Biodiversity, Sabah Parks, Fishery Department for the Tagal area, DID, and Forestry Department. But then it works out well because the DBKK person who's doing that is actually very good in diplomacy. And of course, I think after around 1 year, we have an impact evaluations. So because of the tourism there, they actually designated that as a bio-edu-tourism. Okay, though it's really go for like camping and also hiking, also doing expedition and so on. So the infrastructure has been improved, especially on the road and the village as well, around the village. There are evidence of income generations. Before we can survey the number, is COVID-19. And also because they are they're always involved with the multi-agency projects, so they become very independent, these villages. So it's very easy to work with them as well. And for the tourism part, we actually get them to be mentored by our Desa Cinta Kobuni. So because Desa Cinta Kobuni has been experienced all those things that we learn, we teach them. So we want to replicate that. So we get them to teach the people in Kampung Kolon Sunan as well. So this one is actually, we are actually very happy with the outcome for this one. So, so that's that. This is actually new. This is actually a bit, I think about a few months ago. This is actually we also involved with the Marine, Borneo Marine Research Institute in UMS as well. So this one is the village which is actually have a very thin lines of mangrove area that goes towards the sea, the South China Sea. So we wanted to designate as a biocity. And again, we know that you have to strengthen the socio-economic conditions so that they will actually are comfortable in conserving the area. I mean, if they don't have that, you know, the what do you call that, you know, the not wealth, but you know, the comfort of socio-economy, then they would not be interested in conserving anything. So we use tourism again as a tool to conserve the area, the water area. So, but this is at the reconnaissance stage. Okay, so at this moment, we actually get one PhD research students to do the biocity implementation for this area as well. But again, at this time, we also get them to go to Kobuni, get mentored by the Kobuni villagers so that they know what to do and it's easy for us to work with them in our future projects. But then again, because the excuse me, because of the MCO, so we always had like this snag that you can't just like, it's like you want to do something and stop, you want to do something and stop, and so on. And I think that is well, it happened to everyone, and so yeah, I think everyone should understand what we are having now. And the last one is actually, this is a new project. Again, this is still under recognition stage. It's a Kampung Tanjung Aru. As you know that in KK, if you mention about water village, it's always going to be associated with trash or waste management. And again, it's kind of like a health issue. So one of the things is actually we try to this angle that we try to use tourism as as a tool for waste management, and we have done the reconnaissance stage as well with the with the local leaders and so on. And of course, we would think that again, if we designated this as a tourism water village, and again make them a bit more comfortable with their social economic conditions, so the waste probably could be reduced. So we're still trying to figure out and how to deal or how to approach this issue as well. But again, what we're trying to do is again, we wanted to basically use tourism to kind of like solve this issue that we think that it can solve as well. I wouldn't say that tourism would be the solution for everything, but I think in certain area like this, it could work as well because this issue has been there for a long time and it has been neglected, picked up, neglected, picked up, neglected, and so on. So okay, maybe we could do something, like this. So for all the projects that I've done, I mean, before KK, I did a lot of projects on the Kinabatangan area, and I think one of the things that, in my opinion, the critical success factor in strengthening the socioeconomic, of the local community, or making sure that they actually can work with the project as well. It's the first one is the champions. You have to select the right person. So, for example, in Kobuni, you have three stakeholders. So you have to have a three champions from each, stakeholder. So they have to have the right chemistry, have the right, rapport, have the right wavelength, and so on. Uh, then this will work very well. Otherwise you will have, you have different level of energy, so it will not work. The energy must be matched with every champion. So I think the champion is very, very crucial. So this is a human factor. The second one would be if you want them to make them, if you want the village to be like, for example, to be more sustainable, or to to conserve the water, the mangrove area, or to care about their waste management. You must make sure that they are accountable with their social economy, right? They have to have like they shouldn't worry about getting where to get their meal next, and things like that. They should have that kind of level of comfort so that they're actually more adaptable to whatever initiative that you want to do. So this is the thing that I believe is very important if you want to do a project with the local community. So in conclusion, I think the project actually did get some recognition from ICA. And I would say that if anybody asks me how to do these things, I would say like community consultation is very, very important because, you have to have a consent. You can't just go into a village and ruin people's lives. You have to kind of like agree what would be the outcome and things like that. Even though you're a scientist, or even though you are like, have money, unlimited money from NGOs or something like that, but it's not that's not the main thing. You have to make sure that they also want the same thing that you do.
So, excuse Dr. Wanko, you got 10 seconds to end.
Oh, okay. All right. So, well, basically, that's what I'm going to say. So, thank you very much for listening. I think you can read all those things as well. So, thank you for reminding me to
Great.
give you a time.
All right, thank you. It's a wonderful talk, actually, Dr. Wanko.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate that. Yes. All right. So we have a second speaker who was supposed to be our first speaker. Right. So let me introduce her. So don't go away, Dr. Wanko. We have some questions for you. Yeah.
Sure.
And now let me introduce you our second speaker, Miss Monica Chin. Yeah. She's an environmental marine conservation activist. She founded One Oceanary Empire, a social enterprise providing education and awareness training for creating mindset change about environmental and marine conservation to youth and young generation. She is the co-founder and community director of Blue Hope. So this afternoon, Ms. Chin will speak about capacity building through technology intervention for coastal community. So I cannot help but I have to add a little bit more introduction for Ms. Chin here. It's very, very interesting actually. She's born and bred ocean-loving Sabahan among biodiversity and ocean conservation activists. She is better known as Monica Bonio. Okay, so she is a regular speaker at Asia Dive Expo because she's an avid diver for 23 years. So she's spoken at Singapore, China, India, Australia, Malaysia, which include diving also, right? That
Yes.
exercise, correct. So I think one thing interesting is she's recognized as an outstanding contributor to ocean conservation and environment at ADEX Beijing. So in 2020, she joined a distinguished group of 20% around the world who are Ocean Quest Global Ambassadors. So congratulations, Miss Jean. And to be the first Sabahan woman, yay, Ocean Quest Global Coral Rehabilitation and Conservation Trainer. So I really look forward to your beautiful slides. Yeah, and then so let me remind the audience again, please write in your question in the chat and we will gather after Miss Monica finish her talk. So this is, the floor is yours. So you have about 20 minutes and I will give you 1 minute reminder when you reach that point. Okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Rahina, and thank you so much, Professor Dr. Awangku, to take over to go on for the first the session first. So I'm sorry for the late, everyone. Can you see my slide, Doctor?
Yes, we can. Do you want a full slide?
Yes, please.
Okay. So Dino, can you put on full presentation?
Can you see my slide? I
Yes,
shared
yes.
that. Yeah, okay.
Oh, you're sharing the slide?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. So don't, Dino, don't. Then yes, but it's not full slide. It's partial.
Okay, Tapa, I think can use your side. Possible?
Okay. So Dino, can we put on Miss Chin slide? Dino, can you share? Okay. Full presentation.
Yeah, okay, we skip this.
Okay.
All right, before I proceed, let us watch the video first. Thank you.
We have a video. There is a video. Oh, can you run the video?
Yes.
Dino, can you run the video? At the bottom, yeah. Sound? Is there a sound? Supposed to be sound?
Yes.
Oh, we don't have sound. Oh, I don't have sound.
No sound?
Dino, can we have sound? Okay. All right.
Sorry for the technical problem, everyone. I hope
Sure.
everyone
I am water. To humans, I am simply just there. I'm something they just take for granted. But there is only so much of me, and more of them every single day. I start as rain in the mountains, flow to the rivers and streams, and end up in the ocean. Then the cycle begins again. And it will take me 10,000 years to get back to the state I'm in now. But to humans, I'm just water, just there. Where will humans find me When there are billions more of them around, where will they find themselves? Will they wage wars over me, like they do over everything else? That's always an option, but it's not the only option.
All right, I think we can go for next slide.
Okay, very powerful message.
Thank you, Professor. Okay, I think Professor Dr. Rahina has introduced me well. Thank you so much again. So I'm Monica Chin. I'm originally from Sabah. Just a quick little bit info about me. Next slide, please. Yeah, I'm born in 7 September. So this is me when I was kids. And I really enjoy my backyard. There's no trash. There's no pollution at all during 1980s, during 1970s. So if anyone from Sabah here, I'm sure you know where is Kota Blut. We are so rich with the green and the blue. And yeah, I'm also experienced avid scuba diver for 23 years. I have been traveling for almost all Southeast Asia for scuba diving. And the best is still my beloved home, Sabah. Next slide, please. Okay, this is my social enterprise company, which is two social enterprise company. Just a quick one. We are advocates to SDG 13, 14, 15, and 16. And we provide a community educational awareness program to protect, preserve, and restore the environment. So, of course, all these activity are related to water and the health of our surrounding, our environment. Next, please. Okay, this is a part of my project. Like Professor Dr. Rahina said, I'm a trainer for coral propagation, a first woman trainer in Sabah. So these are my project. That's the one you see is my coral, which is this one I think is a 6 months old picture taken in March early this year. So that's how we propagate the coral. We actually don't put any structure or any artificial things into the sea. We don't use that as to call us as a conservationist. So everything is natural, 100% natural. So that's part of my project with the community. Next slide, please. This is just a photo. Dr. Rahina also already introduced me. Next, please. Some of the underwater, our beautiful ocean photo shoot. This is how beautiful is our ocean, which is related to our water on land. Next. Yeah, next. So, okay, for those of you that wondering who is Monica, what you have been doing, basically, I fully engaging with the local community, especially coastline community at the west coast in Sabah, from Kudat down to Kuala Penyu. So this is part of my activity that I've been running 8 years cleanup beaches, island, underwater, river, village with local rural community or urban community. So I've also given awareness talk for 5 years for community in around Sabah. And yeah, that's part of the activity as a freelance underwater model. That's what we have been doing, promoting not only the ocean in Sabah, but as well as working together with the community in Sabah. Yeah, then my two company also conducting environmental and marine conservation activity program and training to the community at our coastline. Next, please. Okay, this is I just sharing some photos what we have been doing here with our local social enterprise company. like I said, we're doing a program, training and activity project with the community. Why? Because we all understand that the local champion is the community, is the local people, is not from outsider. So how we engage, how we relate it to the water and sanitation. Of course, we need a clean and clean environment to live with. And I'm sure everyone know the biggest problem nowadays, not only in Sabah but the whole world, is not only Malaysia, the whole world, is plastic pollution. So these are the activity that you guys can see the photo. We're doing underwater cleanup. Engage with all the local community together with our international volunteer from all over the world. So how, I'm sure a lot of people ask, how can you, I mean, this is moderate Professor Doctor, this is normally people will ask me, how can you work with the local community, the local kampung people? You don't speak the language. Well, I do speak the native language. I speak Bajau, I speak Dusun, I speak Kadazan, and I understand a little bit Iranun. So that's of course Mandarin is the is one of my language as well. So how I connect with them to make them understand that why water is so important to them, then they all agree, yes, the water is very important, but not all the places have clean water. Some of them, they have rain harvesting, they have tube well, water pump from the stream, and some gravity water as well. So to relate it into the water, to have a clean water, is plastic pollution. The pollution is one of the major cause to how to say, to destruct in order to have a clean water for the community. So this kind of program, awareness activity program, like cleanup, stuff like that. So we use our program, our training and activity to go along with that knowledge. Because like we have a chat earlier with the professor, Dr. Rahina, every single location in Sabah, every community in Sabah live in different geography. You know, some people live in islands, some people live nearby the mangrove, nearby the coastline, like Professor Dr. Awangku say, Tanjung Aru, nearby the urban area. So this kind of geography is not everyone living in that kind of area. So we need to understand and connect them with the nature so that they value the nature. They understand the value that nature are so important to not only for them, but to all the people and the next generation. And then before I start my program, usually I will, for me it's easy because I'm a kampung girl as well. So I can go everywhere. I can go anywhere. So easy for me. I don't know, probably it's such a blessing. I have that relationship with kampung people that I'm so easy to connect with them. Then the most important point from myself to run my program and to make them understand how important is water and sanitation is to understand the community needs. I totally agree with Professor Dr. Awangku. Sorry for the noise. I totally agree with Dr. Awangku just now. To run a project, we need to put on the value, you know, as a tourism value and working with other agency. So to put people together, that's a very important point as well. But not all the community understand the importance of nature, you know, because most of them, my experience for past 10 years, as well as a scuba diver, as a trainer, they only know the importance of the resources, like mangrove. Mangrove can produce mangrove crab. They can produce the clam, you know. So this kind of resources for them to earn income from the nature resources. But most of them forget with the unhealthy and polluted nature at their surrounding, at the home ground, it will destroy the whole ecosystem. It's not only destroy the water and the sanitation, and also will destroy their resources that they're harvesting for years to support their livelihood, right? So these are the activity. We connect with the local volunteer, we connect with the international, because I'm not sure with others, but from my program for the past 8-10 years, when I bring my international scuba diver to join me as volunteer to run some program or activity with the local, they are so happy to see outsider to come to the village and visit them, you know. So yeah, other than that, usually I will share with them, I will introduce to them the importance of the trees, the grass, the mangrove, the seagrass, the forest, the bushes, even the insect, the flowers, everything is part of their ecosystem in every single different geography of environment where they live. Because if I introduce the project in the island, let's say I have another project in Mantanani, for everyone information, I have 9, 10, 11, 12 project in west coast of Sabah, right from Kudat down to Kuala Penyu. So if in Mantanani Island, they don't have mangrove, so they don't understand the importance of mangrove. They don't understand the what is the role of a mangrove forest, things like that. So we need to understand the most important. We need to understand the whole structure, the whole ecosystem where they live, and what is the important resources for them. Then we can teach them how to share with them how to protect the surrounding the environment. And of course, when the environment is healthy, the nature is healthy, the water, everything, all the resources will be healthy as well.
Okay,
So,
excuse me, Miss Chin, 1 minute to go.
yeah, next slide, please. So this is my recent project in not in between Kampung in Kota Blut and Tuaran. So these kids just don't understand. Not to say they don't want to understand, but we need more education to make them understand that they need a healthy environment. Next slide, please. Yeah. So before we end, I want to tell everyone, look into our backyard, protect our nature, because healthy nature, clean nature it will lead and boost our ecosystem and economy as well. So from my term of water is our life. Water is life. So before we end, let's watch one of the last video, and then I hand over to you, Professor. Thank you. Next slide and video. Yeah, from me, thank you so much. Over to you, the Professor.
Okay. Well, yes, I think if I were to sit down with both of them, it would take days for me to enjoy exchanging ideas. It's not enough, just 20 minutes. All right. So we see. Oh, before I forgot, please do sign in your name for attendance. It's in the chat. Please do that. Okay. Just click on the Google link and you can do that. So let's check whether there are questions here. So Dr. Mus, you asked a question. Did Dr. Awangku answer? How do you ensure, this is question for Dr. Awangku, there's no conflict or potential conflict with the co-op members? So Dr. Awangku, can you answer that?
Yes. Thank you very much. Hang on, let me just start my video. Okay. I mean, I don't think we can avoid conflict, especially in a co-op. And one of the things that we do is we try to push people that we know that we can work with, and also very good in troubleshooting as well, who is actually very good with diplomacy. So that makes things much more easier for us to monitor and to make sure that everything goes well. So it's just putting the right person at the right place. It is hard. I think at one point when the COP is out of control a bit, So what we do is we try to do we were thinking about doing a rival co-op, like women's co-op, for example, you know. So that works, that makes people like a bit, okay, I have to be, I have to do my job properly. I have to interact with people more properly now and things like that. So they're kind of things that it usually somehow it will works out at the end of the day. So
Okay,
that's my
good.
answer.
I got one question from Dr. Fufu here. But I want to ask the same question to Miss Chin actually. Yeah.
Go ahead.
What? Yeah. So about the mindset change. Let's see. Have you got? How do you overcome these challenges in changing the mindset in the community that you went into?
Okay. To me is not really difficult. I think Ching Hui Hui also from Kota Balut. I'm from Kota Balut, so
Mm.
we need to understand. We need to understand, like you. Let's say I cannot talk about ocean, about the problem in the Mantanani Island to the Kampung Tambatuan in Kota Balut, which they don't understand what is the ecosystem all about. So we need to yes, mindset is very important. Just make them understand. Usually I will do a comparison, and like Professor Dr. Awangku said, I will go for women as well, women and kids. So they are the mindset driven community, because usually in any place, is proven in my community project, nobody will listen to the father. Hey, you don't throw the garbage, you need to keep clean, things like that. Nobody will listen. But when our kids tell us, mommy, please stop using that blah 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 blah, please bring your own container. Oh, okay, yes. So we will listen, the adult will listen more to the kids rather than adult or youth. So
Interesting.
yes, so usually I will go talk to the women, and I will do my education program with the kids. That's my focus point. And the third level is youth. When we have that activity, we need youth to drive it. But yes, mindset is very important. But if we want to change the mindset, we need to make them understand first why we come in here, why we do that, why all of us need to do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
back to Dr. Awangku, yeah. Let's say you mentioned just now, if we were to replicate here, maybe you did mention somewhere, but maybe it's good for you to reiterate again. Can I ask you the top three urgent factors that we need to hold on to if we were to involve the community to work with us on certain projects?
Okay. I would say it's the champion. That's very, very important because they're the one who really going to push everything through the end. The second one would be on strengthening their socioeconomic conditions. And the third one is actually get mentoring. So I think mentoring is very, very important in this. Even even though when we do the Kobuni as a model village, we did actually send them to few places to get mentoring from other places that we think that they can learn a lot. So these are the three things that for me is very crucial if you want to work with community to achieve whatever they want to achieve. You use to introduce new technology if you want to, and you have to have this kind of thing.
So it seems like the first one is very important. The first, we call it the first template. The first project must be correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in terms of Miss Chin, one question for you. In the same sense, let's see, what are the key community participatory efforts, yeah, that you see must be done in protecting the ocean biodiversity from your viewpoint and experience?
Sorry, can you repeat, Professor? You are breaking.
Oh, sorry. Okay. What is the most critical efforts that from your experience you feel that is needed now to protect the ocean biodiversity?
The education and awareness. Education
Okay.
and awareness are the most important because it's not all the villages, not all the community know about climate change. They don't know about global warming. They don't know about certain ecosystem that very important for them in the future. So for me, the most challenging to reach out to all the community is education and awareness. Connect them back to the nature. Because despite the pandemic, everyone trying hard to find the resources of income to put food on the table nowadays. But we need to be more creative how to bring this into the community and the daily life activity. Yeah.
You mentioned about the impact of COVID, yeah. So, Dr. Awangku, is there any significant impact to those villages that you help
Yeah.
to COVID?
Well, unfortunately, in tourism, because tourism stops, so everything stops also for the community too. So, but at this moment, because the income is it's a secondary income, so it doesn't really affect them so much. So what we do is we just keep doing some training for them, so just to keep until the COVID is done.
Okay. So one last question. This from Jury Fu. Is there a model how to enhance community ability to manage the environment by themselves? So do you want to answer this, Ms. Chin?
Yes. Okay, let me take this.
Less
Yes,
than
I
1
have.
minute because we have to
Yeah,
go.
okay. Okay, it's not it's a standard it's a standard model. You know, the most important is we need to create a value on the waste. Let's say example like the tin can. So separation, you know, separate segregation of the trash. That's to create the income from the waste that they can manage themselves, and we have to connect them to the recycle company or the recycler pickup station, and then that will be once we do monitoring. Usually, I will do 1 year, maximum 1 year 6 months, 1.5 years, and then we'll hand over the whole project to them.
Okay.
Of course, we will monitor who can take charge on that project.
Okay. So thank you
Thank you.
very much. I think we ran out of time. I know it's never enough when we speak to 20 minutes is not enough. So we have come to an end of this fifth webinar series, yeah, organized by UNEP and ACT Malaysia with collaboration with University Putra Malaysia. I hope everyone enjoyed the presentation. I do. I myself, I do. So today we covered the SDG topic on community participatory impacts. So I'm pleased to remind you that the next upcoming webinar series will be on the 1st September. So it will be focusing on resiliency and sustainability of marine economies. So we look forward to that, especially in this climate change. So until we meet at the next webinar series on number 6 on the 1st September. So for me, love your environment and prosper your community. Be safe, stay safe. So thank you everyone. So I'm signing off. Raina here. Bye. See you next month.
Bye.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Bye.
Thank you everyone.